Hi, my name is Kevin Strunk. I'm Dean of Students at Crossett High School, Crossett, Arkansas School District. Uh, Today I'll be talking about Common Core State Standards, um, how they're being implemented, when they're being implemented, and hopefully being completely implemented K through 12 by the 2014-2015 year. But before we go any further, we need to talk about what they are, who put them together, why it was done, how it was done, or how it's being done, and what is the overall goal down the line. Um, Overall goal down the line is to be more competitive in the global job market, and to let our kids have an opportunity to compete in the global marketplace. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about what the Common Core state standards are. It was a state-led effort that was coordinated by the National Governors Association, uh, Center for Best Practices, and the Council of Chief State School Officers, the NGA, and the CCSSO. Um, the standards define the knowledge and skills that students should have within the K through 12 education, so they will graduate high school and be able to succeed in entry level courses, courses that are credit bearing, and and obviously can get them into the workplace, or if they just want to go straight from high school into the workplace. Um, they're designed to be tough and robust, um, relevant to the real world. The new learning standards stress conceptual understanding and application. Um, they are internationally benchmarked and guarantee our students to be competitive in the emerging global marketplace. Um, they're aligned with college and workforce expectations. Um, they're clear, understandable, and consistent. Um, Include rigorous content, application of knowledge through high order skills. We want to build upon the strength of our current state standards and only want to climb and try to make them better. Um, Standards are informed by standards in other top performing countries, so all students are prepared to succeed in the global economy and society, and they are um, evidence and research based. That um, in this case, being in the state of Arkansas, the Arkansas State Board of Education, they adopted the Common Core State Standards in July of 2010. Um, and the idea and the hope from them is that our students be fully prepared for the future, um, giving our state and our students the best opportunity to compete successfully in that global market. That's why they did it. That is the hope. That is the goal. Um, so we'll hopefully everybody can get that implemented, and our school at Crossett High School is in the process of getting everything implemented, and we hope it's going real good. Um, so the why factor, why did they do this? Is to provide an opportunity and to ensure all students, no matter where they live or where they come from, are prepared for success in post-secondary education or in the workforce. That's why these standards are coming about. Um, they are designed to be tough, reflecting knowledge and skills of our young people need to experience success in college and the workforce. Currently, each state has its own set of standards. Consequently, what students are expected to learn varies from state to state. The new standards articulate some of the same expectations for all students and ensure that they are receiving a high quality education consistently, no matter where they live. Um, the idea is that it should be clear to every student, parent, and teacher what the standards of success are in every school. So how are they going to do this? The Common Core state standards represent a coherent progression of learning expectations uh, in English, also in mathematics, and are designed to prepare students for college and career success. It's a significant piece of the initiative is the adoption of the Common Assessment System, um, along with 23 other states. Arkansas is a member of the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers, which has been formed to create a next generation assessment system to provide more services and supports for students and teachers um, than there are currently available. Um, the Common Assessment and a natural continuation of the work is already underway, uh, and it's to build on our current assessment system, not just completely eliminate it, use the things that are good, and continue to do those things along with the new way of assessing. By partnering with other states, we'll be able to leverage resources, share expertise, and produce a system that will meet the needs and expectations of Arkansas students and teachers. Um, the new assessment system will be in place 2014-2015 school year. Um, but until then, the Arkansas Department of Education is going to continue using the benchmark and the end of course exams to assess students in mathematics, English language arts, and science. Um, the implementation of new standards, including training for teachers, is also ongoing. Uh, our goal is to be ready when the new assessments arrive, like I said, in 2014 and 2015. Um, the time frame that the Common Core standards were to be implemented from grade to grade. Um, kindergarten and second grade were to be implemented in the 2011 and 2012 school year. Then third grade through eighth grade was this year, 2012 and 13 school year. Um, in 2013, 2014, the high schools 9 through 12 will have Common Core implemented into their programs, into their system, and the Common Assessment, um, the new testing system to see if it's working or not, and the rigors of this process is to be implemented in 2014, 2015. Um, just some facts. Um, Common Core standards make it possible for educators to work collaboratively, um, coast to coast. Doesn't matter where you live, and they adopt and enrich common standards with learning activities and new best practices. Um, like I said before, it's a state-led effort, but the idea is basically that if you were to leave one place, one school, and go to another, that you would be on the same track, on the same pace, not too far behind or ahead one way or another, and not be, stumped when you get there, or not be bored because you're further ahead than some of the other students and what they're teaching. So overall, those are the reasons of what it is, why we are doing it, and how it is to be done, and how it's going to help us. Um, so the purpose of this stuff, what is the purpose? What is the reason? The textbook reason, the Common Core state reason, standard reason that is given, is to provide a clear and consistent framework to prepare our children for college and the workforce. Overall, it's all about the kids, all about having them prepared to go out, succeed in college, not have to take remedial courses, and be able to go to the workplace and not have to have somebody watching over their shoulder continuously to make sure that they can do things right or follow directions from their boss, or be able to read an email and know exactly what they're supposed to do, things like that. Who developed it? Who developed it? Who got together and said that this needed to change and came up with these standards? Um, we talked about how the National Governors Association for Best Practices and the Council for Chief State School Officers got together, the NGA and the CCSSO. They were a part of it. But the main people that got together were school teachers, both, post secondary and secondary, elementary level teachers, pretty much all levels got together on this. School administrators, the ones that are going to be there and been implementing and seeing what was working and what wasn't, where there are needs for improvement, where there are where they can just you know continue to make things better, and also educational experts, people that have been in this business a long time, um, and just you know putting their 2 cents in, essentially. um, and they've got all these new practices and techniques to try to uh, use in your classroom, and it's only going to help when you're implementing these new standards and these new ways of teaching these children. So, talked about what it is, talked about why it's going to work, how it's going to work, what the main purpose of it is, um, a few facts, and the question is now: is it good for us? Is it going to be something that's useful uh, down the road? Is it going to do what it says it's going to do? Is it going to put our kids in a position to go to college and be ready right now? Is it going to put them in a position to be successful in the workplace? Um, but also, is it going to be good for teachers? How's it going to change them? What are they going to have to do different? Obviously, there's some training going on for them to know exactly what the standards are going to be, um, and what is going to be expected of them, and what information they have to pass on to these children, and how far in depth they need to go to get there. What do they have to do, and is it good for them? Um, it's going to be good for them because the standards will allow them to inform the development of a curriculum that promotes deep understanding for all children, rather than just knowing a little bit about a lot of things. We'll know a lot about a few things, and that'll help us understand more things when we try to bring that in and all make it into a nice, neat education when we have them graduate and move on in their careers or going into college. Um, it'll allow them to be more focused professional development, and promote more collaboration. Um, you know, Going from classroom to classroom, having teachers get together and collaborating with each other, and setting their lessons up to where something that's being taught in math can translate over and being used in the science classrooms. Everybody needs to know how to write a report. The English classrooms, you need to know how to do a lab report. You need to in science class. So those teachers need to get together and collaborate and try to make it the best they can. They can give educators more time to focus on the depth of understanding and richer units of study, um, rather than focusing on got to fit everything in, got to make sure I get to it. And we've touched on it. That's kind of been the old way of thinking. Um, got to get to all of it, and maybe not to where they understand it as much, but to where I've touched upon it. They should know it. No, now it's going to be more about, hey, this is what we're studying about. Let's get deeper into it. Let's make sure you understand it. Let's understand why, when, what, who, and get everything about it that you can, um, so you're better prepared for the new assessments when they come up in 2014 and 2015. Um, so we talked about if it's going to be good for teachers. There's some reasons why it's going to be good for them and how it's going to help them. Um, what about students? We've talked about what it's supposed to do, what the plan is that it is for them to make them better and more, um, more prepared for the global marketplace. But is it good for them? These standards are going to help them prepare. It's going to help prepare students with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed in college and careers. Um, Again, that's what this is about: preparing them to go further in education, preparing them to go further in the job market, and do those jobs that in the last few years have been having to go elsewhere and abroad in the competition. Um, Need to get them in a position to where they can compete for those jobs and do well with those jobs. Um, it's also going to give students more time to focus on depth of understanding of topics um, that are being covered. It's one thing, you know, to know what something is. It's another thing to know what it is, how it works, and why we need it, or if it's good or bad. Um, these standards will help students realize what is expected of them and allow them to engage in self-directed learning. Um, Self-directed learning is kind of the point. It's to throw that higher learning, higher thinking, deeper thinking questions, the answers, the imagination coming in, and just making your mind work and putting more puzzles together of why and how and what things are. Um, what about parents? How's it going to affect them? Um, how is it good for them? The standards are good for the parents because it helps them understand what students need to know, uh, what's going to be expected of them at each step of their education, um, what exactly each grade level they're going to be expected to learn, um, when they're going to have to be prepared to learn certain things down the line, so on and so forth. It'll help parents facilitate conversations with their son or daughter's teachers, um, about how to help their children, how to help them reach their educational goals. A teacher knows where it's going. The teacher's informing the student where that lesson is going and what the point of it is, and where we're trying to get to. But the standards being real clear and consistent, it'll give the parents a better idea of what they are, so they can better communicate with their teachers and help their students or their son or daughter get to where they need to be. Uh, It'll also assure parents that children have access to the same high quality education other students receive in other parts of the country, not only in Arkansas, but throughout the entire uh, United States. Numerous states have picked up the Common Core state standards, and even though it is state led, um, that's going off of standards that have been set before, and they're making new standards, taking away and figuring out what is most important, and going into more depth with those things.
Stop. Can you feel it? The forces that shape our lives are shifting. Forces that will affect our quality of life, our economic prosperity, our standing in the world. Change has happened, and it is up to our children to keep up. In the next 5 minutes, 39 babies will be born in the U.S., 155 babies will be born in China, and 260 babies will be born in India. China's students rank highest in the world in reading, mathematics, and science. Our students rank 14th, 24th, and 20th. India has more honor students than we have students. At least 18 nations have overall higher student test scores. And there is trouble at home. 42% of U.S. employers find high school grads unprepared for jobs. 30 to 40% of grads are unprepared for entry-level college work. That means we don't have enough qualified graduates to fill good jobs, professional jobs, high-tech jobs, blue-collar jobs, jobs that help raise a family. It means U.S. employers must cast a broader net for workers. So our kids will be competing for jobs against students from Shanghai, Stockholm, Singapore, and beyond. What do our kids need to catch up? Better reading and comprehension skills, better writing and communication skills, the ability to apply math concepts to everyday life, and strong foundations in science and technology. Our kids also need higher order skills, creativity and innovation, analytical thinking, problem solving, and the ability to work well with different kinds of people. Wow! Where do we start? Meet the Common Core State Standards in English Language Arts and Mathematics. They outline what our students should know and be able to do in each grade. Think of them in terms of 3 words: fewer, clearer, higher. Fewer topics covered than in the old standards. But teachers drill deeper into each so kids learn more. Clearer definitions of achievement, so we know what our kids must accomplish to be ready. And higher expectations for what kids learn, so they can qualify for the best jobs out there. The standards are not about memorizing facts to pass a test. They emphasize critical thinking and problem solving, so kids can draw big picture conclusions, so they can create workable solutions in their adult jobs, so they can lead their peers worldwide. The standards can be tailored for all kinds of learners, and they line up with what colleges and employers need. 46 states have voluntarily adopted Common Core State Standards in English Language Arts and Mathematics. Our teachers are now being trained to use them. Schools should begin moving toward the new standards now, completing the transition by the 2014-2015 school year. How will we know if the new standards work? Through a new system of assessments or tests. Current classroom teachers are helping develop them. The tests will occur throughout each school year. The year will begin with a diagnosis of what students know, and the tests track each child's growth through the year. For language arts, that means analyzing increasingly difficult text and presenting evidence to back up conclusions. For math, that means they spend more time reasoning, problem solving, and applying math concepts to new situations. The new tests will be computer-based to give teachers results they can use quickly. We'll know in every grade if a child is on track to be ready, so students are much less likely to fall behind and more likely to graduate ready to succeed in life. Whose idea was this? The new assessments are not national or federal tests. States have teamed up to create them as members of 2 groups, the Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium and the Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. With these tests, we can measure and level achievement across our state, our nation, the world, and they will be better tests than any one state could afford to develop alone. In the end, who's accountable? The test scores will help measure school and district effectiveness, teacher effectiveness, and how students are stacking up against their peers in other states and the world. So what can parents do? Parents can learn what the standards contain. They can understand the workplace their children will be entering, and they can support higher expectations. Now that you know about the new Common Core State Standards, let's talk.
Hope you liked that video. It was a nice video. I thought it kind of gave a good breakdown of what exactly to expect from the Common Core standards, and how it can help not only students but also parents and teachers and what its goals are down the road. And it was good to show how the competition is stiff and why this is needed. I'm going to move on to what is going on in my school, Crossett High School, what the plans are, what the just what we're kind of pursuing to start next year and get put in place. I'm going to cover the initial uh, content areas, which were mathematics and English language arts. Um, it was a two-phase part um, that phase one would be college and career readiness, um, end of high school expectations. Um, basically to define college readiness and what career readiness is. Uh, it's designed to anchor all students K through 12 through K through 12 standards. The second phase is to um, grade by grade articulation of the Common Core. Uh, it's basically to serve as a guide and tool for aligning instruction, curriculum, assessment, and teacher supports and systems of accountability. Um, the college and career readiness standards, um, feedback, and outreach. Um, Early drafts were sent to chief state school officers um, and state higher education officers for internal review. Um, these drafts were posted to the CCSSI website for public feedback, and outreach to post-secondary partners was also done. Let's kind of focus on English language arts area. These contents area would basically include reading and literature, writing and research, speech and listening, and language development in general. Um, Standards were made um, for grades K through 3, and also they span from 4 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 10, and 11 to 12, as far as um, how the standards were put together. Um, the general observations that I've had were that the standards include description of the required text complicity by grade and grade span, um, and they are specific um, for text types as far as narrative, informative, explanatory, or argumentative. Um, got real specific on what it wants and when. Um, I do have a few concerns though. Um, Concerns are unclear hierarchy within the document itself. Um, Standard development uh, was the approach was a little bit unclear. Um, the repetition uh, of the standards across the grade level just seemed like it was very repetitive to me. Um, the use of grade spans and not grade levels. Um, it basically had a point where it was putting, 2 to 3 grades together at a time to get a basic group of items learned, and sort of like a package deal, and not just grade level, so to speak. That kind of concerns me just a little bit. And the emphasis on a 4-year uh, college readiness. Not sure how much of that was done, um, though I think there are improvements and things that will make them go deeper in thought. I'm not sure that it's a 4-year readiness program within that. Um, Moving on, I'm going to move on to mathematics, another content area. Basically, it's broke down into two different sections. K through 8 content area would basically include such things as operations, quantity, and measurement, uh, base 10 computation, shapes, fractions, coordinate geometry, statistics, ratios, um, number system, expressions, equations, probabilities, functions, and the situations that they model. A lot of things to cover throughout that time period. Obviously, the higher up you go, the more these will be touched upon and emphasized. Um, at the high school level, the content areas basically would include expressions, equations, functions, coordinates, statistics, modeling, probability, and some geometry. Um, those are just the content areas for the high school. Some general observations from the mathematics as far as grade level standards go. Um, Common standards could strengthen professional development goals and outcomes. Um, and the standards are broken down into what students understand and what students can do. Um, and that'll give them some more confidence more than anything. Um, as well, I got some concerns in the mathematic area as well. Standards develop uh, approach unclear. The development approach was unclear on it too. How they came to these. Um, like I said, there's definitely improvement, um, but maybe I just didn't find the research based reasoning behind some of what they did. Um, but nonetheless, that's just a concern of mine at this time. Uh, the connections to the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics and the National Mathematics Advisory Panel, um, the two main bodies of the mathematical teaching. It wasn't real evident. I'm not sure how involved they were in that. Um, but, with anything, try it and go and then see what we got and how it works out. Content was broad, and at times, depending on the grade level or the grade span in this case, um, it kind of had some lack in depth, uh, and still kind of had that got to fit everything in type thing going on. But the developmental continuum, the timetable on it is a little questionable. Some things seem like they are out of place, maybe should be done earlier or should be done later. Uh, but those are just some concerns of mine. Um, Overall, I'm really happy with where our school is going and how prepared we are. I know we're having meetings for our English and math teachers all the time, continuous trainings, um, to where these standards are very well understood by them. They know exactly what they're supposed to be teaching. The curriculum maps and that type of thing are getting put together by them, along with the administrators, and that way everybody building to building in our district will be on the same page and exactly what is required by them. Um, Overall, I think Common Core is a great idea. I think the focus on doing, focusing on a little bit fewer things and trying to get a lot more in depth. The idea is really good. I like the new testing idea. I'm not, completely sold on how different it is just yet. I guess I'll just have to wait and see how that one is when it comes out, and see if there's improvement, see if there's more in-depth knowledge from our students. But overall, I think it's going to be a great thing. I think, if you can get everybody on your staff on board, like we do here at CEHS, I think some great things can happen, and you can prepare these kids to not only be, great citizens and great hardworking kids, but college graduates. And for some of our guys down here and gals, there's not a whole lot of that. They may be the first one in their maybe the first one in their family to do that. So I'm curious to see how it works over the next few years, and see the breakdown. And hopefully it's a thing of beauty, and that it will just blossom and grow, and turn into exactly what people want it to be. I hope this video was informative. Um, I look forward to doing other ones and trying to get a little bit more in depth, not only for myself but for viewers. All right, y'all have a great night.